You came to me with this film that I knew nothing about, Nina and Irena, and I watched it without really any kind of expectation. I was overwhelmed, actually. I'm a filmmaker myself, and I admire this work immensely, and both of you for being part of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What do you think of the film?
What do I think of it? I think he did a very good job. I didn't think there was a story, but yet he made it a story. So, okay, I'm happy with it.
I mean, how do you think that your family was able to survive?
Well,
Or is it chance?
Yes, and ingenuity on my father's part. I mean, he was quick on his feet and reacted appropriately, and that saved us. The farmers came to look us over if we were strong enough. So they started to look in my father's teeth to see if he had a healthy teeth. So he got very indignant, started yelling in German, "What is this? I don't belong here. Get somebody here in charge. What is this?" And the Germans jumped, he spoke perfect German and he was a very domineering person. So they jumped and they got somebody in charge and they took us away from there. And he said, "Look, I am working for the Germany war effort with the men that's dismantling the Warsaw ghetto and sending the bricks to Germany. I am needed there." And he gave the guy's name and everything. They called him up and the guy said, "Yes, I need him. Where is he?" And I feel that through his ingenuity, we survived.
Hmm. And when did you realize that you were never going to see your sister, for example, ever again?
Whenever I was walking behind someone who reminded me of my sister, I would run up and look at their face. And that went on for a long time, even though we knew that there was no trace of her and all that, but we didn't discuss it. My parents, not with me, we didn't discuss it. And in my mind, I thought that maybe when everything ends, she'll finally come back.
Yeah.
And even to this day, somehow when I see somebody's name, in the paper or something, it says Irena, Irene, I think, oh, who knows, maybe it's her, but yet she knew where we were and she knew the people to contact that knew about us. So the chance of her surviving all this is very slim. I don't know. But yet you hear, sisters meet in Israel after 80 years, two sisters get together. So miracles like that happen. So you never know.
I sometimes say there are two competing theories. You never know, and you always know. I don't know which one to pick here. Maybe both of them.
Yes.
Certainly one of the, for me, memorable parts of this movie, which was memorable in its entirety, was your take on human beings.
I don't know. I really don't know if there's any hope for us. They don't seem to learn. They don't learn that war doesn't do anything. I think Daniel said, well, if you do tooth for tooth and eye for eye, we all be blind and toothless. I mean, come on. That's not the way to do it. You have to try to stop yelling and start listening to the other person. And maybe you don't agree with their ideas, but at least listen to them and see that they're not, basically all they want is love and to survive and to provide for their families. Everybody wants the same thing. There's some idiots that want more, they want power over you. maybe my answers are simplistic and childish. I don't know.
I don't
But,
think we're simplistic, sorry.
okay, but it's just that I still don't understand what happens to people. I keep saying the same thing. We're all born little children, innocent, and some of us grow up to be upstanding people, and some of us just think of killing the next guy. Why?
It may not be explainable.
But is there hope? Is there hope for human race? Tell me.
You're asking me? I'm the very worst person to ask. Max Brod, who was Franz Kafka's closest friend, asked Franz, but what about hope? Surely you believe in hope. And Franz said, yes, of course, just not for us.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
Sad and maybe truthful.
That's right. That's even sadder. Oh.
Yes. I don't know. The world seems hopeless and intractable to me. People seem murderous by inclination, genetically murderous. I don't know.
Yeah.
You say something really, really interesting, that it was your father's assertiveness, the fact that he would, brook no
like the
interference.
Germans, yes.
Yeah, that he stood up to the Germans. Such a crazy story.
Yeah, but true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did you become aware that your family was just vanishing in front of your very eyes? Or you weren't aware of it?
I didn't know about it. I really didn't. When we survived, I was hoping that other cousins and uncles, whatever, did the same thing and survived too. But as we started counting heads, who was left over, there were very, very few, almost non-existent.
And now today you have a big family again.
Yes, I'm very fortunate. I have 5 great-grandchildren, I want you to know. That's really something.
It's such a powerful story. And the fact that you were able to come here and make a new life.
Yes. Yeah, we came at the time when there was age discrimination, and my father was in his 50s already. So he had a hard time getting a job. But once he did, he rose and became a supervisor of accounting for S. Klein's department stores, So he had the urge in him to succeed.
Yes.
Yes.
But he never talked about what happened, or did he?
No, we didn't talk about it, no.
What happened to the house that you grew up in?
Now, this is how many years ago we went?
6 years ago.
You went?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Poland, and we came, they wanted to see the house I lived in. So we came to that number, 59 Sienkiewicz, I remember that. And we come there, and people were standing in the doorway. They were like, what do you want? So I don't know if they let us go in. They didn't let us.
We have a video of you with my mom walking through the staircase, and you went up to the door, and then you turned back down.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, well, because I didn't think I would be well received. The Poles hated the Jews, no matter what. Their feeling was that he didn't do the final solution, didn't get away with all the Jews. That's what their complaint was.
And actually, in in Kelsey, the town my grandmother is from, there was a pogrom after the war. I think in 47 or 48.
Of course, yes.
46. Yeah.
46.
Yes.
Basically, a modern blood libel saying what, that the Jews were drinking blood to make matzah.
To make matzah, and they killed 43 Jews, and the police just stood by. They didn't do anything. So
I'm not sure where this line comes from, whether it came from Claude Lanzmann, or where it came from, but in the period after the war, the Poles were able to achieve the impossible: anti-Semitism without Jews.
I like that.
People my age just don't know, and that's part of the reason I made the film, is something as simple as the 6 million number, or 2/3 of Europe's Jews, 90% of the Jews of Poland were killed. I mean, we went back and there's just no Jewish presence left in Poland. It's maybe 20,000, 30,000. Warsaw was New York 100 years ago, and now it's just a museum, basically.
Did members of your town, did they end up at Auschwitz?
Everybody, all the Jews were taken. My father associated with, only doctors and lawyers, and everybody the title doctor was a big deal. Doctor of philosophy, they called him a doctor, very. So they all perished. Did
you ever have to wear the star? It sounds like you didn't.
No, we never did. We had an apartment in an attic, I remember, because my mother had chickens walking around there. That's how I remember. And my grandmother at that time was alive. So she came to visit us. So she covered her star with, they used to have cloth carrying bags. So she covered it so she wouldn't, show that she's Jewish coming to visit us. That's the last time I saw my grandmother on my mother's part. When I came there, my grandfather was a violin teacher. So I remember him, he's sitting at his desk and his glasses were down like that, and he was looking at me, and that's all I remember of him. My grandmother was running a conditorei, which is like a little coffee shop. That's how they survived, because he didn't make enough from the violinist. And that's still my last time that I saw them.
Your father must have known what was going on. It sounds like it. Your father was smart, too capable. He had to know.
Probably, but he didn't share it with me, and I probably.
No, I wouldn't. If I had a young daughter, would I share it with her? No, I don't think I would.
Now that I look back at it, it was a tough time, and but yet we made it. So we're here. At least I am here now.
Very much so.
With my big family, and my grandson got me to talk about it. I never talked about it. Nobody asked me, and it wasn't a part of the conversation. Nobody talked about the Holocaust. All of a sudden, it became very popular as people started writing books, telling the stories and everything. But I never did. So he's decided to bring it out into the open. So here we are.
Another thing that I liked, I'm sorry to extol the virtues of your film, but sorry, most movies that you watch don't make you think about anything except how you wish you had done something else other than watch them. But this is a movie that made me think about so many, many things. And how lucky this guy is to have a grandma like you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
lucky. Yes.
And it made me want to make a Holocaust film too. I got jealous.
Well, you have my phone number, Errol.
I
So
do. And-
anytime you want, I'm ready.
Okay. You know, I can't even imagine it. It's a different story. It's a different story than I've ever heard. Speaking back to the Germans.
Yes, well, that's
Hey, you can't do that.
absolutely.
You know you're not allowed to do that.
In the same way she speaks back to me in the film. Her father spoke back to the Germans.
But what would we do without hating other people? I mean, it's baked into our DNA.
I think hate is taught, though. I don't believe in that. I think hate is taught. You know, when the child is innocent and the mother will say, well, you don't go to them, they're Jews. You don't like them. That's what they do.
So how does it happen?
First of all, I think that the parents or whoever it is point out the people that we should hate. So they hate them for no reason. And then they find a reason. Smiled crooked at me or something, whatever, made a remark or told the teacher on me or something. Sure, my father was right. I should hate him. And that's how it stays.
But yet you have a very dark view of humanity.
Yes, I do. I do, because with the people that I have met throughout my life, betrayed us and for no reason. For what? We hardly had anything. So my father, at that time, we had false papers. He was my uncle and my mother was his sister. So he went to a church to get out a woman out of there that he knew to please live with my wife so that, you know, she needs a little comfort and all that. Okay. So the woman lived with us. And one night, my father happens to be there. We're pounding on the door. What? The police. We hear they're Jews here. Come. And they took us, all three of us, and we were marching in the street. They didn't come with a car. And the patrol comes, the German patrol. What is this? So they say, Juden. My father says, not Juden, it's a mistake. No Juden. Anyhow, they took us to the police station, and my father started again that he's needed and so on and so forth. So they were going to release us. So the policeman in charge there calls my father over. He says, you know who gave you up? That woman that lived with them, with you. She wanted your belongings. So, you know, those are the stories through my life. I don't know. I'm sorry I'm bothering you with stories like that, but...
By the way, you're not bothering me. I would say it's quite the opposite. You go to the shul in Budapest, which was the largest shul in Europe. And the entire center is a graveyard. And the Jews fled to the synagogue, and they were gunned down by the Germans on the synagogue property and buried there. And do we learn anything from history? Probably not.
We don't.
Why is that?
I don't know. Did you have any answers for that?
Do we learn? I think I'm too young to be the one to. I mean,
What?
No, I mean,
We didn't learn anything.
it's also you know this, Errol, and my grandmother knows, but I spent 4 years with white supremacists and neo-Nazis, and when you're in these spaces with young radicals, you know, someone like Richard Spencer is saying to a depressed kid at home on YouTube, you're not just poor and lost and depressed, you're actually a descendant of a Greek, you're a descendant of a Roman. He's creating this sort of mythic history and ancestry that they can then kind of map their lives onto. The problem is that they're not just, it's not another subculture. It's not metalheads or, it's destructive and racist and anti-Semitic. And
So Franz Kafka's answer to Max Brod, surely you believe in hope. Yes, of course. Just not for us.
Yeah. It's
Well, I hope we can do this again. I really enjoy this. I have to do something this morning, but
Yeah.
I love talking to both of you.
thank you. We enjoy talking to you.